Hey guys, Dave and Len here. Welcome to Wargame Chat. Today we're going to talk about how to get war games used for good prices. My favorite place to get games is at auctions and at conventions. At conventions, let's say you got a flea market or something, you got to be fast. So if you see a game you want and it's at a price you're willing to pay, just buy it. Don't waste time trying to negotiate with the guy when there's 6 other people standing there who are willing to buy it. Just buy the damn thing. Another thing with conventions or flea markets or any of that is if you see a table and the guy does not have his games priced, no price on it whatsoever, he just wants to do the negotiation nonsense, completely ignore that table. Go to the other tables, buy what you want, blah, blah, blah. And if you want later, go back to that table and then just lowball him when he tells you to make an offer or something. Anytime someone says to make an offer, it pisses me off. It's like, what, you're too lazy to go out and buy some masking tape and put the price you want on the game or something, and you want to play these games and stuff. So I always lowball people if they give me the make an offer thing, and sometimes they accept it, sometimes they don't. As far as online, I don't buy many war games online because, I mean, the average shipping cost is $15 for a game. So if it's like an Avalon Hill game, it's worth $20, and then you pay $15 for shipping. I mean, the shipping's almost as much as the damn game is worth. And there's an auction around here that I go to twice a year called the Games Plus auction. I always buy games at that. I always get a good deal there. I know you haven't bought many used games lately, but in the past, where'd you like to buy them?
Oh, Games Plus. They have a certain section where they have used games, and that's where you get a lot of like old SPI games that I've forgotten about or something. I gave you a lot of times when I go to the store, I look in that section first, and usually I don't find anything. You know, one of the problems being as old as I am is a lot of used games I already have. So I think. About a year ago, I managed to, instead of just one game, there were 3 games I wanted, which was unbelievable. But first I had to check on one of them, because one of them was Spanish Civil War by Battle Line Games. Now the thing was, I thought, wait a minute, that can't be the Battle Line. Maybe there's another company afterwards. So I checked on the internet and found out it's Battle Line's last game. And the reason why I probably didn't hear too much about that was, well, you know, after they put it out, they were too busy turning themselves into Quinto to probably bother pushing this product.
Oh, I didn't know Battle Line became the Quinto.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Oh, okay, I learned something new every day.
Yeah. And they had a, what's that? The Gamers had Semper Fi, which is a tactical, part of a tactical combat series, and this one was taking place in Korea. So yeah, definitely had to buy that. And unfortunately, they had the Avalon Hill Anzio, which some people are saying is one of the worst games ever made.
We played it. We had mixed feelings about it.
Yes, it was. Well, the problem is the theater is kind of miserable, and the game doesn't help any.
Do they still have at Games Plus used? They have one used game there. I was thinking of getting Blood Tree Rebellion, which is essentially from what I understand, it's a science fiction guerrilla warfare game. Essentially, the author wanted to do a Vietnam game, and he got talked into the publisher into doing a science fiction game instead. I don't know. The publisher might have thought he was going to make more money or something,
yeah.
But
Vietnam's a depressing subject.
Vietnam's great with miniatures. There's not many hex and shit war games about the Vietnam War that I like. I like Kson 68's is good for a micro game. Actually, very good. But other than that, there's not really any that I really like.
With Vietnam, you do it on the tactical or the skirmish level mostly. Because there's only been like about a couple big battles, like the Battle of Hue, what's the one with the air cav and I think
Battle at Landing Zone X-Ray.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they had quite a few big battles there. Yeah. But
Aichon Valley. Aichon Valley.
Ashaw Valley.
Ashaw Valley campaign. Yeah, because they had a couple good battles there. So.
I mean, they had big military operations. The problem is the enemy wouldn't cooperate. I mean, they'd send in 10, 20,000 U.S. troops, and then the enemy would just scatter. And after this huge operation, they'd only kill like 500 of the enemy when they're hoping to go in there and kill 30,000.
Yeah. They did a fighting withdrawal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't blame them for running. I mean, if you got that amount of forces coming at you and you're just some little guerrilla army, your best bet is to evade when the enemy is strong. Just like, who was that Chinese philosopher who talked about guerrilla warfare?
I can't stand that. But that's
when the enemy is weak, you attack. When he's strong, you evade, and some other stuff.
Yeah. I used to buy used games at Gen Con. There was a dealer called Crazy Igor. And he used to promise that the games are all complete, everything's there, everything. And I'm probably the only person who actually bought a game in which one counter was missing. But this was not important. It was a GMT game about the invasion of Crete. And what it is that there's optional rules where you can change the order of battle. And what you do is, you can have full-strength tank units, but the Germans get so many victory points. So it's like, okay, I'm missing one German paratroop unit. Okay, they start the game with 4 victory points. It wasn't even worth complaining about. So.
Yeah, I mean, some games, if you're missing a counter, and let's say the counter you're missing is like a pinned counter, who cares? You know what I mean? It's one thing if you're missing an entire corps or something, or a division, but if it's just a pinned counter and you have 20 others or 19 others in the box, I mean, who cares if one is missing?
Yeah, because I had one Waterloo game where somehow I lost 3-4 counters. I just made them. They had the order of battle, so I just took blank counters and wrote it in.
I'm the only wargamer who's ever lived. I've never lost a counter in my life. Never.
Oh, I got a whole pile of... I wish to know where some of these counters came from, which games. So...
Well, you can post on some of those Facebook groups and
I feel
picture
like
of it.
it. Sometime in the future I will.
I mean, some of them it's hard to tell because of the counter, like if they're just using standard NATO military symbols. I mean, their counters, if their counter's green, it looks like any other green counter from any other game that uses NATO symbols. So
I was going to say, I got a 10 counter. It's got the box with an X, infantry. It's 6-4, okay. So it could be an Africa Corps game. It could be a Western Europe game. I don't know what. Or there's another one that had like... it was a green. It's definitely some Prussian for something brigade. And okay, which Napoleonic game is this from? And it's like hard to tell.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I always like my micro games. I count the counters before I put them in the plastic bag when I'm done playing the game, so that makes sure you never lose one. The bigger games, I just check. What I do after a game is I check the floor and then I check my chair that I was sitting on and the chair the other guy was sitting on to see if a counter fell on it, and then I'll check my pockets to see if a counter fell and went in my pocket, which actually did happen once, but I found it.
So. All right. Anything else?
Anything else? Well, if you game with a lot of people, you can probably buy used war games from them for a pretty good deal, better than you'll get on eBay or anything. So I get the best deals when I buy the stuff in person. That's why I buy so few war games online. Besides the shipping, is I just don't get the deals I get when I buy them in person.
Lately, I'm not buying anything old or new because of the shipping costs. It is too much.
Yep.
And because of the shipping cost, well, I was kind of ticked off that I bought one game. I remember I didn't buy it at the convention because it was like $60. And a few months later, I had some money, so I was ahead. So I found out, well, they're selling it for $80, okay, you know. And then when I found the shipping was like about $20, it's like, damn it, I could have bought it, if I bought it, if I wasn't so miserly, I could have gotten it for $60. So the shipping is very costly.
Yeah. One takeaway, though, like I said, if you're at a flea market or at a convention or wherever, and there's games for sale and there's ones you want and it's the price you want, just swoop it up. I can't tell you how many times I was at a convention and there was something I wanted at a booth, and I was like, let me think about it. I'll come back in 5 minutes. And I came back in 5 minutes, and the game was already sold. So if you think the game's at a good price, well, guess what? It really is at a good price, so buy it before someone else swoops it up.
A good example of that is RockCon, someone was selling. I finally got the Avalon Hill Source of the Nile. At the time it came out, I wasn't interested because I had the original. And then I found out they made changes in some good, some bad. But the problem was I couldn't find anybody to sell it under like $25 to $30. That's what they're all going for. Well, at RockCon, there it is, staring me in the face, $10. Ooh.
Yeah.
I did not. And the thing was, in the game was a copy of Flame and Sword miniature rules.
Or Sword in the Flame,
Sword
yeah.
in the Flame,
there
yeah.
you go.
And
I think you sold me that, the Sword in the Flame rules.
So, for $10. So, I actually got ahead.
What was I going to say? Yeah, that same dealer, I bought a copy of Naval War from him that was complete, so that was good. He gave it to me for a reasonable price, too.
Okay.
All right, that's all we got, guys. We'll have something new for next week. Have a good evening.
All right.
Welcome to the Battle of Zama Kickstarter. Battle of Zama is a video game about one of the most important battles in history. Scipio from Rome's army met Hannibal's army on the battlefield in Carthage. Historically, the Romans won. However, if they would have lost, the world would be completely different, because Carthage would have been the primary influence in Europe and the Mediterranean instead of Rome. Battle of Zama is inspired by old Avalon Hill and SPI games. It uses a square grid instead of a hex map, because historically, ancient army units rarely moved at a diagonal. Units can change facing, move, range fire, and melee. In addition, units that are part of a formation can move together to make movement faster. One of the most interesting parts of this game is the elephant berserk phase. Historically, when Hannibal attacked with his elephants, the Roman cavalry blew large horns to scare the elephants, and many went berserk and charged Hannibal's own units. In this phase, the elephants are completely controlled by the AI, and the ones that randomly go berserk will charge in a random direction and then do both a ranged and a melee attack at whatever unit they are near. Afterwards, the berserk elephants' handlers will kill the elephants. In order to win the game, the Romans must either kill Hannibal or cause the Carthaginian army to surrender by reducing it to 10 or fewer units. The Carthaginians win if they kill Scipio or cause the Romans to surrender by reducing them to 10 or fewer units. The three modes of play are one player where you play the Romans and the Carthaginians are controlled by an AI, one player where you play the Carthaginians and the Romans are controlled by the AI, or two players where you can either control both sides by yourself or sit somebody else at your computer with you and play against them. The two-player mode is complete. The only thing left to do in this game is to create the AI for the one-player modes. Backers can back this game for $10 to receive a digital download of the Windows or Macintosh version when it's ready. There is also two additional optional add-ons for $150 each. The two lucky backers will have their face used on either the Hannibal or the Scipio counter. Backers will be able to download Battle of Zama on January 1st, 2023 at the latest. The launch date has been created farther in the future than it really needs to be, just to ensure the game is ready when promised. If it's finished early, you will receive the game sooner than expected. This is a low-risk Kickstarter because I've successfully created 6 indie video games in the past and work as a senior software engineer in my day job. I've proven over the last 25 years that I can create high-quality software that is delivered on time. Thanks for watching, and please consider supporting this project. The game engine I've built is reusable, and I plan on creating several other ancient warfare video games over the next few years. Have a good evening.